Well, this meme sums it up. Most expensive vehicle to operate in 2023, 2024, especially here in Canada. Now, some people are taking to Boycott, one of the largest grocer chains in Canada, over this whole ordeal. Now, who do you think might profit the most from this whole thing? I don't know. Don't want to struggle anymore. Grocery shoppers plan Loblaw boycott in May. Push springs out of a Reddit group targeting food giants. Now, did it really spring out of this Reddit group? I think it sprung out of the House of Parliament, especially the seats of the leader of the NDP, as he's been railing about this for months with his whole idea of greedflation. We're going to get into some of that and how maybe this might be benefiting him and his family more than any Canadians, really. A boycott targeting Loblaws is gaining momentum online with what could be thousands of shoppers taking their money elsewhere. Now, are these people actually shoppers of Loblaws? They've obviously been beaking off on this subreddit. We're going to get to that. Well, actually, I might as well show you here. This is the subreddit, or the Reddit, where they're talking about this. And they've been beaking off about this for months, thousands of them. Do you think they've been simultaneously shopping at Loblaws? I doubt it. I really do doubt that. Now, in all honesty, a boycott is when you are actually the consumer of a thing. And I'll give you an example of this. I used to go to Disneyland with my folks, with my kids. I used to take them to Disneyland quite often, actually once a year or once every other year. And since Disney has been doing the things that they've been doing, I've taken my money elsewhere. I don't take them to Disneyland any longer. That's what a boycott is. If you were a consumer and then you were no longer a consumer of a thing, that's how a boycott works. But I digress. It's the latest sign of Canadians mounting frustration with the major grocers, which have been under political pressure, political and public scrutiny for rising food prices and profits. Is it rising profits, or is it rising food prices because of other things? We'll get into that. We don't want to struggle anymore, said Emily Johnson, a mental health and addictions worker in Milton, Ontario, and one of the boycott organizers. Johnson and others started organizing the boycott after a Reddit group she created gained thousands of followers looking for a place to complain about Loblaws and other grocers. But we're going to just take it out on Loblaws. Wonder why only Loblaws? The page r/Loblaws is out of control. Now it has about 56,000 members. While there is no way of knowing how many will participate in the boycott, the page is full of posts from people who say they plan or have already started. There are also lists of demands to Loblaw from the boycott organizers that includes signing a grocery code of conduct and committing to affordable pricing. We'll see how that goes. If the NDP got their way, we'd have a national grocer. I mean, that's how it would go. It would go as the government would be the grocer moving forward. For those who maybe grew up in the Soviet Union, came to Canada, you might remember what that was like. But hey, let's hear what Jagmeet Singh actually has to say about this himself.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Let me be very clear again. The establishment liberals and the corporate-controlled conservatives both had the opportunity to take on the powerful interests of these CEOs and don't, and haven't. Like the majority of Canadians, I believe that corporate greed is driving up the cost of food. That's what Canadians believe because they know it to be true. But the corporate-controlled conservatives and establishment liberals won't do anything about it. We will. That's what our bill is about, giving more power to consumers and less power to greedy CEOs.
So what? Greedy CEOs are the ones that are the greediest? Well, let Jagmeet Singh decide. Or perhaps his brother, who's also a lobbyist for Metro and Skip the Dishes. Jagmeet's, here it is. Here's Guratan. Lobbying firm gets employed by Metro and Skip the Dishes. Jagmeet uses his position in government to attack Loblaws their industry competitor. Oh, okay. I wonder if anyone's been buying stocks in some of these companies, or perhaps even Loblaws themselves. Boycotts against Loblaws on the horizon. The market seems indifferent. Loblaws stock price is at nearly on all-time high. Well, why would that be? Why would they possibly be getting more sales? Because their margins aren't any better. And here's Amazing Zoltan pointing this out. If selling food in Canada is as lucrative as Jagmeet Singh suggests, why aren't there hundreds of foreign grocers, retailers knocking down the door to enter the Canadian market? The margins are terrible, I replied, and he actually posted what some of the margins look like. Now, some months look better than others, but a 3% margin is not a great margin for any business. But, it does make up for the months when it's not 0.89% profit margins. This is the crazy thing. If you have record profits, it might perhaps be because we have record numbers of Canadians in the country, when over 1 million Canadians were just new people just entered the country last year. Well, you think 1 million new mouths to feed, and even with a profit margin that's tiny, you're still going to make a considerable more amount of money in this whole endeavor. Now, the food processor on X came in and chimed in on this and brought some really rather good insight to this whole situation. The Loblaw boycott might have been helpful, but it won't be. Instead, we're merely witnessing the embarrassing attempts of a group that isn't even trying to understand how the food industry functions and how it needs to be improved. Obviously, he's saying that the food industry needs to be improved. And obviously, we're paying a lot in these carbon taxes, which we'll get to. The Loblaws boycott, a squandered opportunity. For months now, we've heard rumblings of a Loblaw boycott organized by a clandestine group aiming to penalize grocers for their perceived profiteering. This alleged boycott is set to start May 1st, with participants calling for a reduction in food prices. However, it's important to note that many food prices have already been declining for weeks, rendering the movement somewhat misguided in achieving its purported goals. Not to mention, if you have profit margins that are not 0.89%, and like in the month of June last year, how much lower can you go before it's actually giving away the food? In fact, they must have been giving away food in December of 2020 because they had a minus 4.42% margin. I mean, when you average this out, it's not good. It's not good. These guys this isn't greedflation. This is completely out to lunch what people are actually saying. Canadians justifiably feel frustrated. Of course, prices are going through the roof. It's getting more and more expensive to live in this country, with all the costs of living, energy, housing, food, all of this going up. It's crazy. They justifiably feel frustrated, unprotected, and deserve a platform to be heard. While boycotts can be effective in the food sector, successful ones are locally sound and coherent. This boycott targets Loblaws, Canada's largest grocer, which controls less than a third of the market. Moreover, the boycott overlooks foreign competitors like Costco and Walmart, which Costco and Walmart can really subsidize any losses over here, possibly because they're giant world global companies. This is crazy, which are inexplicably exempt from the movement. Wonder why? The arrival of both Walmart and Costco led to the consolidated grocery industry we have today. Wow. A lot of small grocers went out of business. The selective targeting undermines the boycott's credibility. If the goal truly is to enhance the food affordability, the boycott should encompass all major box stores, not just focus on one company. More, including Metro. I don't think Jagmeet would be too keen on that. This whole idea right there. Moreover, to truly to truly address the issue at hand, the movement should support independent grocers who compete against these large players without any substantial backing. The independent grocers often promote local foods and innovate across various food categories. Despite their contributions, these smaller entities seldom receive the recognition they deserve and are prevalent in communities nationwide. Contrary to popular belief, smaller does not inherently mean more expensive, and the boycott could have highlighted the value of supporting independently owned and operated stores. Furthermore, any Canadian who takes 2 minutes to read and assess the financial reports of top grocers like Loblaws, Empire, Sobeys, and Metro will quickly realize that the accusations of profiteering are largely unsubstantiated. Not only have these companies seen some same-store food sale growth generally below food inflation rates in recent quarters, but their gross margins, also a true indicator of profiteering, have remained stable for at least 5 years across all three corporations. These firms have highly diversified earnings, significant revenues from cosmetics, clothing, pharmaceuticals, financial services, and real estate, benefiting from their varied market positions. The boycott also raises concerns regarding its underlying motives. Some members of the group are targeting and threatening experts and academics who disagree with their stance, and have attacked journalists who report dissenting opinions, exhibiting almost cult-like behavior. Really? Cult-like behavior from a group like this? This aggressive and confrontational approach is uncharacteristic of Canadian social movements and suggests a politically motivated campaign rather than a genuine grassroots effort. Originally well-intentioned instigators seem to have lost control of the movement. While Loblaws is not entirely without fault, particularly concerning its intense pressure on suppliers, which can stifle competition and reduce consumer choice, the boycott missed a crucial opportunity to educate Canadians about the real issues within the food industry and the role of major grocers like Loblaws. We need a code of conduct to establish a level playing field for all grocers and food manufacturers in Canada. Instead, it opted for sensationalism and quick publicity, a disappointing and ineffective strategy that ultimately failed to address the systemic issue it purported to confront. What a great write-up. Fantastic. You can go check out there's a podcast here talking about this as well. Leave links in the description down below. You can go check them out. Government.exe is corrupt on Twitter, saying, "It's weird how people are getting upset with the grocery stores and rising food costs when the government and Bank of Canada were directly responsible for the record rise in inflation and living costs." This is true. This is absolutely true. Throwing the proverbial fuel on the fire of inflation, there's Justin Trudeau adding more to the to the carbon tax, which of course Jagmeet Singh himself voted for as well. More and more people coming out and saying that this is just bizarre. It's absolutely bizarre that this is what's happening. Picked up a few things at the Superstore over the weekend for a family gathering, says Sheldon on X. I like to always make sure to have some fresh fruit on the menu for the grandkids. The prices were through the roof. We're talking $2 to $3 more per clamshell on the berries. Ended up only getting some grapes than when I'd normally buy 2 to 3 options. I shop at Superstore because the prices are better than my other local options, Safeway and Co-op. People aren't going to be boycotting Loblaws or their chains, as the National Post claims, given the increase in prices driven by the carbon sham. They're going to be razoring back what they can actually afford to purchase. Fresh food, unprocessed items priced out of the lot of family budgets will lead to further collapse in the health of Canadians, with obviously already a horrible healthcare system that we have thanks to the government. Here again, the butterfly only flapped its wings on April 1st. yet we've yet to see the full ripple. And of course, the Fraser Institute posting on the budget, which is largely inflationary. This year's federal budget, the government again demonstrated its proclivity to increase taxes, spending and borrowing. In 2024-2025 alone, federal program spending will reach a projected $483.6 billion, billion with a B, an increase of $16.1 billion compared to the previous budget estimates. It is crazy what's happening here in Canada. We are paying more and more due to the dwindling purchasing power of the dollar. Thank you very much. That is the actual thing that is inflation. Inflation is a dwindling, it's an increase in the monetary supply, which actually dilutes all the other dollars that are out there circulating in the market. The CPI, prices going up, is just a measure of that occurring. Of course, there are other factors driving up prices, like other things, other taxes on things such as fuel that have been increasing in recent times. But hey, I'll leave this one with you. This video has gone quite long. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think of this whole boycott. Who do you think's profiting the most from it? Is it the consumer, or is it possibly the NDP? Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. We'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.